So, now we knew everything about these 6 startups. These are our finalists, and it's a pleasure. And now we will give you the time to vote, because it's very important now to decide which one can win this competition. And to take this time, I want to introduce you something very important for us, and I will do it in Italian, perché lui è il nostro Head of Global Partnership e quindi sono molto contenta di chiamare qui sul palco insieme a noi per dare il tempo anche alla nostra giuria di votare per le finaliste di questa Startup Competition, a Vito Esposito. Eccolo, Head of Global Partnership del WMF.
Buonasera, buonasera Leotta, buonasera a tutti, good evening to everyone. I would like to introduce myself, Mr. Jan Bjorklund, Ambassador of Sweden in Italy. Please come on the stage, Mr. Bjorn, Mr. Jan. And Mr. Abdelkrim Touahria, Algerian Ambassador to Italy. So, first of all, thank you very much for being here at WMF. I hope you are enjoying the show, the trade fair. And I will go very straight to some crucial questions in the framework of digital cooperation. So, starting from Mr. Jan, new data from the European Commission, especially the European Innovation Scoreboard, showed Sweden as the most innovative country in the European Union. In this framework, which are the implications for cooperation between our two countries, Italy and Sweden?
Thank you. Let me just ask a question to the audience. How many of you have ever listened to music on Spotify? Okay, thank you. How many of you have used Skype when having meetings online? Yeah, thank you. Majority both questions. Then we have already a big cooperation between Sweden and Italy. These are Swedish innovations, Swedish companies used in Italy. We have a lot of Italian companies also in Sweden. We have a lot of cooperation between these countries. Let me underline 2 basic facts. First of all, governments can never create innovation. It's individuals who create innovation, who come up with ideas. That's the first thing. The second thing, let's take this microphone I'm speaking in right now as an example. Someone had to come up with the idea to create this microphone 150 years ago. But if there was no one commercializing that idea, we shouldn't be heard of this microphone. You need both a researcher and an innovator, but also an entrepreneur. And that is what successful innovation policy is all about, to put the innovator, the researcher, and the entrepreneur together and to stimulate them. For let's be honest, they are often 2 different persons, but not only that. The researcher and the businessman are 2 different kinds of persons with different attitudes. And successful innovation policies is about putting the researcher and the entrepreneur together.
Thank you very much. Definitely you took very good examples. So, giving the word to Mr. Abdelkrim. Mr. Abdelkrim, Algeria is quite a new player in this scenario. According to this, which are the policies and initiatives that Algeria is managing for technological and innovative development in the country?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer of this important event, and for the opportunity also that make me the possibility to be here with you. Effectively, in our policy, under the leadership of the President, which accorded most importance for the young people to be in the future the most creator, the most innovator in the sector, not only for the diplomacy, although for the sector, health, tourism, economic, energy. We are living in this moment in the phase of developing our diplomacy, because the traditional concept of diplomacy is to promote, protect the interests of countries. But now with the technology, and we thank the technology, we make this opportunity fastly by Twitter, by Messenger, by Facebook. This context of development of technology in all the sector allow us to be one of the countries which take the possibility and have the perspective for most and huge opportunity of becoming one of developing countries.
And one more question. Is there any special policy dedicated to cooperation between Algeria and Italy?
We are living the best moment in this relation, because Algeria and Italy, their relation not only for these 2-3 years, but since 60 years. We have the diplomatic relation since 6 years, and the dynamic which created by the two presidents, Abdelmajid Tebboune and Sergio Mattarella, was the factor which determined this relation for the future, and we are living the level of cooperation that we never lived in the past.
Shukran. Thank you very much. Mr. Jan, one more question for you. Before we were speaking about the positive implication of cooperation. In this framework, which we are living now, which is quite complex, do you see any possible fallout in cooperation between allied countries or between Sweden and Italy specifically?
Absolutely. Within the EU, we have now big projects together. In Italy, you are discussing a lot about this PNRR, even from this stage, I have heard. Now, but that means that we invest a lot in Europe now in digitalization and green transition. And here we have to learn from each other. That's absolutely for sure. Of course, since I am Swedish ambassador to Italy, I'm focused on bringing Swedish universities and Swedish companies to Italy. My Italian colleague in Stockholm do the opposite, of course. But I spend almost all my time to try to stimulate Swedish companies and universities to cooperate here. For example, I was in Torino some time ago because of Fiat and Stellantis. And I had 5 Swedish companies with me doing business with Fiat. And I thought they came down and should produce some sort of steering wheel or something. No, they were all software. You know, a car today is only computers. I didn't understand anything, but they did good business. So, we do it all the time in a really high-tech level all the time. And it's my job to promote it even more, but we are already doing it.
Thank you very much. Mr. Abdelkrim, before we saw how Algeria is approaching digital cooperation and innovation, and you also talked about how Algeria is approaching relationship with Italy. Is there any specific country in the MENA region, in the Middle East and North Africa, where Algeria has got any best case of cooperation, is doing well, and you think this kind of policy should be also implemented in some other country?
Yeah, I think that the degree of the cooperation that we have now with Italia, it is not only in the sector of energy, because we have many other sectors that we will be in the future months, the central of the cooperation between the two countries. I see it comme example the the project of Fiat in Algeria, which will protect the cars in Algeria. This cooperation is the transfer of knowledge in Algeria, and this will consecrated the ultimate phase of the cooperation between the two countries. We are working also for other sector of activities. We try to respond to the preoccupation of our population, and I think that between Algeria and Italy, we will be serving Europe, and there is other project in Algeria, maybe with another countries of Europe. I can't see the name of the countries now, but we are working for developing and for magari maybe essere the actor of the cooperation between the south and the north of the Mediterranean space.
Thank you very much. One last question for Mr. Jan. So Erdogan, the first re-elected president of Turkey, closed the door for Sweden admission to the NATO. Which are the feelings in Sweden about this, and how Russia is involved? Do you think is involved in this decision?
You know, Sweden did not participate in the First World War. Sweden did not participate in the Second World War. Sweden was neutral. That created some sort of collective mindset in Sweden that if you are neutral, you can avoid war. Now, Ukraine was also neutral upon one and a half year ago. So I think that has been a really wake-up call for Swedes, that you are not protected only by being neutral. There is now a big support for the NATO membership in Sweden, about 80–85% of the population. The difference, one big difference between Sweden and Italy is, of course, that we live very close to Russia. Very, very close. We have always had Russian military airplanes, naval vessels in the Baltic Sea, and they are very aggressive all the time. So there is a big support now. I hope really that it's now up to one country or maybe two in NATO to also accept our membership, and I hope it can be finalized this summer.
Okay, so since we have few minutes left, I will make one more question. We saw your point, what Sweden is doing, what Algeria is doing. Just your point of view about how Italy is positioned in the digital marketing, in the digital and technological market.
Well, Sweden is now very, very, I should say, in front of the digital in Europe, in the digital transition. Italy is maybe more in the medium, but when I observe Italy, there are so many key factors which are already fulfilled. This is an industrial nation with a high competence. This is the country of Marconi. This is the country of a lot of innovation and industrial successes in the past. So, good engineering traditions. And so I can only see that should EU have given an advice to Italy, and I can easily support that advice as well. There is a little bit too much bureaucracy here. So and you know, if you should start a business company in Sweden, you go in on a home page in the government agency, you fill it in, and after 10 minutes the company is started. For example, you have to make it easy for innovators. The researchers, they are not entrepreneurs, but it should be easy to commercialize ideas. That's the point here.
And your point of view about the same question, how Italy is considered in Algeria, especially in the technological field, of course?
Yes, for us, Italy is the first partner, not only in Europe, but in the world now, because the volume of economic exchange, the past year is $7 million, and this year $18 million. This is confirmed that we will be in the ascendance to get up for the future. And we admiring the Italian model for the small and the medium enterprises to follow this policy and become not wide for as Italy.
Thank you very much. I hope that with
Thank you.
WMF.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to our ambassadors and Vito Esposito. Grazie mille.